Ancient Romans first invaded the island of Britain in 55 BC, under the rule of Roman consul-turned-dictator Julius Caesar. But for the next 90 years, Britain remained not a conquest of Rome, but a collection of client kingdoms which paid tribute without Roman occupation. It wasn't until the invasion of 43 AD, under Claudius, Roman emperor with the title Augustus, that the Roman Empire established settlements and military outposts there. In 122, under Emperor Hadrian, Rome built a stone wall across what is today northern England, approximately from the Irish Sea in the west to the North Sea in the east. Marking what was at times the northern boundary of the Roman Empire, Hadrian's wall connected a series of forts and other military outposts along its 73-mile length. An article here describes artifacts excavated just south of the wall, at a fort called Vindolanda. Originally built to guard a Roman frontier road which predated Hadrian's wall, it was rebuilt 8 times over the next 3 centuries. Each time it was rebuilt, remnants from the preceding fort were buried in saturated and anaerobic soil that didn't contain the oxygen necessary to decompose the remnants, so they have remained preserved for nearly 2 millennia. The remnants of military life included such expected things as weapons and armor. Articles from daily life included dishware and jewelry. The excavations also produced the largest trove of leather shoes, both military and civilian. Most noteworthy of the artifacts at Vindolanda, however, were a collection of wooden writing tablets. Of these, there were 2 kinds. One kind was a thick piece of wood, with the center hollowed out and filled with beeswax, into which the text would have been scratched with a sharp stylus. The other kind was a thin leaf of wood, and written on with ink. These tablets demonstrate high levels of literacy, necessary to maintain communication with Rome from these distant forts at the edge of the empire. Not only could the military commanders read and write, but so could soldiers, slaves, tradesmen, and their families, and to a far greater extent than the overall Roman population. Of all the writings about daily military and civilian life, one stands out among the rest. On the back of the draft of a letter is written part of a line from the Roman poet Virgil's Aeneid, an epic poem that became one of the founding myths of Rome. This poem, which glorified Roman virtues, was an essential part of a Latin education, and school children would have had to memorize passages. I imagine a 10-year-old boy grudgingly copying and memorizing passages when he'd prefer strategizing playground battle maneuvers with his friends. Or perhaps a brother and sister took turns quizzing each other on successive lines of the poem, maybe ones which described Aeneas's travels to the underworld. Or perhaps a teenager was copying Virgil's lines to get the sense of the rhythmic structure of the verse, so that she could compose her own poems in the same dactylic hexameter. Perhaps such poems will be discovered in a future excavation, at Vindolanda or even in a distant city, possibly one to which that girl, in her adulthood, traveled. I hope you've enjoyed this brief look at the excavated lives of Roman subjects at the edge of its frontier, nearly 2,000 years ago. Have a great day.